Up From Work podcast. My name's Dave Swillem. Let's get ready to hustle.
Hey, and welcome back to the Waking Up From Work podcast. You're listening to episode 73 today. This is your host, Dave Swillem. Really happy to have everyone that's been hanging out for a while, and I saw a bunch of different people coming to join on that haven't before in my stats that I check out. I am watching you in a non-creepy way, but thank you, and glad to have the new listeners here too. This is the Waking Up From Work podcast. If you haven't heard it, it is about getting to work, making work a passion, living full-time, living that creative entrepreneur life. What that means is very vague. So artists, musicians, creatives, freelancers, people you'll even hear today just living alternative life forms, and they're creative in a ton of different ways too. But we're just about living what you want to do, not what you think you have to do here. Really happy to have you. Before we get started today, I just want to read another review that came in because these mean a lot to me, and I want you to know that. So here I've got, what is it? Huna WTF. I don't know if that's right or not. HUNA WTF left a 5-star review in August. Lots of really great insight in every episode. Very simple, but thank you so much for a 5-star review and saying some nice things about it. We're at 39 ratings of 5-star reviews. You guys are absolutely friggin' awesome. If you want to support this podcast, you've been listening or you're listening now and you really like it, that is a free way that really helps us because it goes into these crazy algorithms out there and helps us get found. So leaving a review is really helpful. If you want to support financially, we have some shirts up on the website that we made with some of our cheesy slogans, and those help me keep the lights on here. So thank you guys so much. Today is a really interesting one. It's mixing it up quite a bit, whereas last episode we had an audio producer, an audio engineer and producer on. This episode, we're going to tap into van life, and that's something that I've wanted to tackle for the longest time on the show, because I really believe that it ultimately comes down to a way of thinking about life, a way of thinking minimalistically of what I need to do what I want to do. And just another example of someone on the show and some people out there that are deciding a different way that they're going to do things because it's just the right way for them. And that's really what this show is about. So I think that it encompasses a lot of things that I believe and that we talk about and get from all these creative entrepreneurs on the show and artists and musicians and things like that. I think that everyone on here comes to this idea of why a lot of these van people do this, because it's stemming from a way of doing what they want to do in life and finding a way to achieve that, regardless of what the means are or how it is that they achieve it. Everyone on the show has done it differently. People in the community are doing it differently. But we're all here for the same reason, and that is to get to work, making work a passion, living full time. So not to totally drill these things that I say, but I really do mean them for real. So today, very good friends of mine, Ethan and Katelynn Hunter, the Hunter's Van Life. These are just very good friends of mine that have been around forever. Ethan was one of the my groomsmen in my wedding, and they are just a huge piece of my life, and then happened to turn this way and go into this life. And I was going to have someone on that did this before I knew that they were going to do this. And then once I saw that they were forming this, I was like, I'm going to wait until they get on the road and find a time when we can hang anyway, because it's been a minute. And they just happened to be back in my neck of the woods. We made it happen. We had some dinner and wine, and then we got in their van and we cut this thing. So the audio qualities might not be as good as some other episodes because we had to share a mic for them because of circumstances, but it sounds pretty decent, and the interview is fire, and it's just a unique perspective. If you don't know anything about van life, definitely check it out after this. I've said it a couple times in the interview that it's not something that I plan on doing, but it's not something that I wouldn't do. And it's definitely something that I understand. at least from my side. So hang out, crack a beer, episode 73 right here. Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 73. Last week we had on Kevin Billingsley from the Portland, Maine area. He just got finished doing the Lamb of God record and has worked with tons of awesome bands. So if you didn't hear that, go check it out. Today we're going to do something really, really different, but it really falls in line with the show. And I was saying a little bit before we started here is that I was planning on having someone from van life or like a camper life or some type of alternative way of living. And I say that not as a diss at all. You know that, right?
No.
Alternative life. I really think that it's a very good choice for a life, right?
And it is very alternative for sure.
Yeah. But, well, to most, right? But not to like a huge group still, right?
Yeah.
But I was planning on having someone that did that on, and then some best friends of mine started doing that. And I was like, all right, well, they're building it now. This is like back in the day. I was like, they're building it now, but at some point I will have them on the show. And then you guys were like, we're going to be in town, and like everything lined up. And I was like, all right, it's fucking on, dude.
We're doing
it's going on right now. So
Awesome.
welcome, Hunter Van Life.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having
Thank
us, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So
Yeah,
great.
dude, it's so exciting to have our home as your driveway right now. You know what I mean? It's like it's a new place every night, and it's just so cool to like be out like on the coast one day, and then like in the driveway with some really good friends the next day. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just like this is our
Drinking
home,
some wine,
you know?
hanging out.
Yeah,
Yeah, listen to the fine folks of Danville, like rev up their cars and shout at people and whatever. Yeah, so for those that are live right now, we did this on purpose. We are inside their van that they put together, and
Yes.
we'll probably have some extra content that we'll make as like video content when we're not live here, to show you their space if they're cool with it.
Of course.
But it's there's so many complexities to like what they're doing for function in here that once you get into this space, it's like all these pictures that you see online, but once you get into it, it's a total different scenario where you're like, I 100% get it. Like I get exactly how this works. Like, but online you might not think it because you just don't know.
Right.
But before I get like too tangenty, do you guys want to just run through people that don't know the Hunter's van life or don't know Ethan and Katelynn Hunter personally, like I do? Do you want to run people through like even people like, to me, it's kind of weird. Even people who don't know what van life is, what's van life? What are you guys about? Like, what is this, what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, I'll kick it off by saying that like we're two people who just were living and paying for rent with all the money that we made. Living in, which it was great. We were living in downtown Nashville, which is awesome that we could even afford to live downtown anywhere. But still, it was like $1,000 a month was killing us. So at that point, we were just kind of sick of living to the status quo and everything like that, and just like basically working to live and having no money at all, even on the weekends, to even have a little bit of fun with our friends.
Working for the weekends, and then you're like,
exactly.
but I can't even do the weekend, so like, fuck me. Like, gosh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Especially when you're living in a city and it's like all there is to do is like go out to cool restaurants, go out to bars.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just constantly having to spend money, and we weren't even really able to do that.
Right. So it's like we looked at that, and and we'll probably get into it later too, just like how we got into the whole van life thing. But just two people that started off with that, and then realized that maybe it's better to live with less and just do this and travel and have some fun. Try to work on our aspirations and everything through that, and having the ability to do that because we're not working so much just to have a place to sleep, basically. You know. I mean, we still like we still have payments on this van, so we're not completely scot-free, but it's a fraction of what we were paying to live before.
It's an investment.
So
it's like,
yeah.
So when originally like we thought we were like, something needs to change because we went through our budget, and it was just the amount of money that we spent in 2 years on rent was, I don't know, it was like close to $30,000. And I'm like, imagine what we could have done with all that money if like I don't know, we didn't spend it on rent, which nothing. It went to
Yeah.
nothing. We went to just a place to sleep.
Yeah,
And,
like you draw a picture of a dumpster.
Yeah.
And you're like,
like I have nothing to show for that.
like you even like you could like have one of those little toy hoops from Walmart and you just have like make it look like a dumpster and just take bags of money and just like throw it in there and you're like, this is dope.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, it's
This
great,
is
right?
wonderful.
Yeah, for
What a
real.
I really
great
like
feeling.
it. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what it was. Like we just sat down, looked at our budget, and I was like, almost 30 grand in 2 years of rent living in Nashville.
God.
I was like, I could have paid off student debt with that. We could have traveled, and I don't know. It's just we were like we need to figure out like something needs to change in our lives. And
you pictured the dumpster and then you pictured all the other things. You're like,
yeah.
look at all the things that this could have been with that amount of money. That It wasn't that.
And once that gets in your head, like I'm an Enneagram 5. I don't know if you guys are any Enneagram at all, but I am like super minimalist as it is. And I don't know. It's just, that's my personality type. If I see that my money is like going to nothing, I'm just like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, for sure. So like, I mean, that's like a big idea of like the whole van life thing and like that movement of just being like, you know, we want to live with less. We really don't need that much. And we're having a more fulfilling life through that. I mean, we're still really new to it anyway. And so I know like a lot of people that we have followed from the beginning and everything like that. They're out there loving life. They're traveling all the way down through Central and South America and like doing all this stuff. Even some people like shipping their vans over to Europe and like doing all that.
Hell yeah.
And so it's just, I mean, for them, like they're definitely like being more experienced. Like you can see that like they're out there, they're doing it, you know, and like we're working our way towards that for sure. But I mean, even still, like even in the short amount of time that we've been doing it, like just definitely feel happy at the end of the day, you know. It's just like just genuinely happy, you know. And so I think that's kind of like, and then if you wanted to like look at like van dwelling or van life in a nutshell, like that's like kind of what everyone's chasing with it is just happiness. Living with less again, and you know, just,
less is more. Like like really like in like forward and leaning in on less is more.
Right.
Mentality.
Yeah.
And like just to be clear, like out there, because like Ethan did a great job of explaining through like why we make these decisions and like what it is. I know what van life is, but like before you know what it is, you just don't know what it is. Right? So for those of you listening out there, van life means that these guys live in a van, right? But like if you're looking on live right now, it doesn't look like a van. And quite honestly, if you're living in New York City right now, it probably looks like your apartment, right? Straight up. Only your rent is like 10x that, right? So van life is living in a van and then minimalistically finding ways to live that life. But it's also not as hard to live that life from what I understand from the outside, because I don't live it, right? But it's a little bit easier to live that life because you don't have the same overhead that you would have in it. And so, and the reason for people that are regularly listening to this show, where we're centered here on talking about being a creative entrepreneur, creative living, and there's definitely elements that you guys might talk about. Like I'm seeing this cool shit that you're doing with the blog, and I'm seeing like I know that it's going to become even more, and I can already see a cool setup for it. But before even that, the reason why I bring this on the show is because of exactly something that you already said, where we are called the Waking Up From Work podcast. Reason being is exactly what you just said. We were like, I feel like I'm working for the weekend and then I don't even do the weekend. And I feel like I'm working for like this rent. And then that's like the thing that I'm like, that's why I exist, is essentially like I exist to just like exist only, is almost what it becomes when you start looking at it and thinking about it that way, if it means that to you. And the Waking Up From Work podcast doesn't mean to not put effort in, doesn't mean to not put work in. It just means that work shouldn't feel like work and living shouldn't feel like work. You should be living full time, is what I say on the show. I have shirts that say living full time on it because I'm a workaholic. I want to work. And like, it's funny because Meg and I talked about like our retirement, and mine's like, I want to open 3 businesses when I'm 70 and like just keep making these things. Even if I fumble hard, I want to like just try on it. And that's what I want to do, is be busy. And she's like, I want to not do that like starting at age 50 like, or 40. Like I don't want to do anything. And it's just funny because it's like, but for me, that's not work at that point. Like it's really like all of this is a game, man. Like I love doing that stuff and I love like the thrill of it. But like, just tying back to you guys, like that is why I have van life on this show because I think it's tied like right directly to that psychological and idealistic understanding of why we exist, what we're trying to do with the life that we have. And it's just a different way of achieving it with this van life.
Right.
As some other people have some other different way of achieving it, but it's ultimately all spurred from the same thing of like, I don't want to just exist to exist. I don't want to pay money to things that don't benefit me.
Right.
And that's tying even back to that minimalist effort. If you want to really go like extreme about it, you know, like out of the box thinking of it, it's like that minimalist thinking of like less is more, minimalist, like I don't need a ton of things, a ton of space, a ton of things to achieve it. That's the same way I think with even that life aspect of it is like, what do I really need? What am I really paying for? And what should I not be doing? Like, why am I doing things that are not serving me?
Right.
So, tangent, but
No. It's for real though. No, that's like just in a nutshell. I completely agree with you because like I started really listening to like I was working a seasonal job over the past couple of weeks, and I really started like diving deep, listening to like. I had the opportunity to listen to probably like 20 of your episodes in a row, which is awesome.
That's that's like, potent, dude.
Yeah, dude. Like,
I'm not like a binge listening person. I'm like a potent ass guy to listen to for 20 episodes. So,
dude, I was doing it. No, like not an exaggeration.
He's just
either,
like furious. He's like, God, like, I'm so mad. Like, I'm so agitated.
Well, no, I was listening to it and I was like, dude, like everyone, like it just got me so stoked to do this even more. Because I was like, everyone on here, like they are like all like every like the essence of everything you just said. Everything is like it's really nuts. in on track like with what we're doing too. And it's like like the thing about it is it's not. I mean, so like we. Like starting off with saying like, oh, we want to go against the status quo and all that stuff, and like don't want to live like a typical like normal lifestyle or whatever. And like that's the thing too about it is that like living a normal lifestyle, it's like it's normal for a reason because like it works, it's good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like not like first and foremost, not knocking on like buying a house and like doing all that by any means, but 100%. Like with this, it's almost like maybe like this is maybe more for people like me and Katelynn, where like we're not necessarily like cut out for it and maybe even like not responsible enough, to do it, we're like, we're just like, on the seat of our pants, like,
like
just
you don't
like,
have to remember to cut your yard, dude. You're just like, fuck, that's long. I'm going to move.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let me get out
exactly.
of here.
So, it's like, but I mean, in doing that, like, it's just, with everyone that we're listening to, like kind of like, or that was listened to on here, like, we're at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same exact thing, which is so awesome, like being in here, it's like, it gave us the opportunity. Cause like, if we weren't doing this, we would be worrying about like, oh shoot, I got to do the lawn. I got to do this. I got to do that. And then at the end of that, I'm not going to have like, I just don't feel like I have the energy or time to like, be like, hey, I'm really going to get like what, like I'm going to write this song, or I'm going to, or we're going to like put content out on our Instagram, or I'm going to like learn more about photography and stuff like that. It's like, if I go to work and then I come home and I'm like sitting there, I'm just like, I don't want to do anything, man. I just want to drink and watch TV. That's it. You know what I mean? Like that is it. I'm done, but then like getting into this where we're, basically every day, we're having fun and also just trying to get our online revenue and stuff like that going, and, kind of producing content and things like that on Instagram and our blog and stuff, all that goes hand in hand. But I mean, it's been great this summer because it's like, we've pretty much just been living like off of minimum expenses, being able to do this, being able to travel around, like come up with content, have fun. And then, like we just worked for 2 weeks and now we're all set for the next few months to be able to do that. And then like also like write music. Like we were just talking about earlier today, we were like, it's like, oh, I need to write more. Like I haven't had the chance, but because we're going around and around and around all around New England, like all this stuff. Well, not all around New England, but between New Hampshire and Maine,
well, it's a lot of New England.
The
It's
rest doesn't matter.
The best parts. The best parts. Sorry,
True.
everyone, if you're from elsewhere, but
Maine is the best state.
All my downloads go down for this episode. People are like, "Fuck, we're off in Boston. Like, get out of here." No, we have mostly New Hampshireites here.
Heck yeah.
We don't have mostly. We have We've got New Hampshire people. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. But just like we're talking about, like we got to come up with a schedule, because I'm like, I haven't had a chance to like write anything, which is like one of the biggest parts of like why we're doing this, is because like I just want to just like write music and have fun and do all that stuff. So we're just like, we need to come up with a schedule, because before it was just like, up until now, or the past like few months of just like, let's go out, have some fun, take pictures, like get into photography, try to like come up with content, release it, and then we lay low for a minute, like at my in-laws, and then we're out again doing the same thing. And then I'm like, oh, what do we want to like? Where do we want to write music? And so we were just talking about today, like we got to come up with a schedule to do that. It's
almost like the opposite problem.
Yeah,
where like you're full of energy, you're full of freedom, and you're not controlled by those things, but then you struggle to find that thing that you want to put, because you have so many options.
Right.
Whereas the other way, it's like you're so tired, you have no energy, and your time is so chosen.
Yeah.
Chosen?
Yes. Yes.
Choiced? Ahead for you. That it's like you can't really... It's really difficult to plan it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like you hit the nail right on the head for sure. It's like the complete opposite
and I
problem.
Get it, man. We're human beings. It's like that. Like literally, like we have to have schedules, but it's like you can't have too much of a schedule, or else it doesn't allow you to either. It's a balance between it.
Yeah. Like we've been reading. Or I've read it a while ago, but Ethan's just started reading it. We've been listening to 4 Hour Work Week.
Hell yeah.
The best. So that's kind of getting us back on track, because like, and we're still new. We've been living in the van for about 3 months now.
I was going to ask you guys that actually.
Yeah. So it's been 3 months. So obviously like.
We're still pretty green.
Yeah. We worked so hard on we spent so much energy and time building the van and so as soon as we moved in and hit the road, it's like all we want to do is like go on all the hikes, go to all the beaches, like just have fun.
Yeah,
and
we've worked this long for it.
Yeah, because we're like, we deserve it.
How long did the build take? So people out there know too, because I think that you see the Instagram photos and you're like, that looks baller. But like, and I want to do that. But like, you have to think about that, right? Like, how long did the build take you guys?
So it was collectively probably 6 months of actual work on it, and this is my first time doing it. I had some carpentry back just to give you an idea. I did. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. To give like a picture of it, like I had some carpentry background, and that's thanks to my father for sure. So it's like us two working on it, and then my dad helped us with certain things, like doing like this whole structure for the bed. He did this awesome woodwork around here.
Beautiful dude.
Dude's a talented guy for sure. So it's like
Hunter Holmes, bro.
Yeah, man, you know it.
Hunter Holmes.
Yeah. You know it. That's what's up. OG, dude. Yeah. But so like to give like an idea of like it took us 6 months, even with like some background, but that's also to say that like this is completely different than working like in a house for sure. I mean, obviously like doing things like trimming out windows and like whatever, like that's the same. But like there's a lot of things where like, I don't know, not everything's square in here. Not like you're working in something that's not 100% plumb and whatever. And I can go down that forever. But just to give kind of like paint the picture a little bit, even with that experience, it took us 6 months, but it was new.
As a carpenter experienced person.
Right.
So, I mean, like if you're off the street, like no doubt, like don't stop yourself if you want to do it. You can do it.
Yes.
But same point, like 6 months of hustle and I'm a carpenter.
Yes. For the first one.
That's still time.
For the first one. Because it's all new, and then you have to figure out like the solar system and all that stuff.
Yeah, we spent, hours and hours researching YouTube, blogs, everything on solar, electrical, plumbing, like the design, everything.
Everything
just, like,
is not the same as the other stuff that he's ever worked on.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. And like I wasn't really even like that great at carpentry stuff to begin with. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of it was like, oh, I just want to make sure it's right. So I'm going to spend longer to make sure it's right, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, like I like, there are other people that I've seen where they fly through it in like 2 months, you know, and I'm just like, oh, well, that had to have been like the third build at least, you know what I mean?
Wow.
But some people say, no, it's our first one. I'm like, well, that's awesome. Like, that's so cool.
You're
you know what
awesome,
I mean?
Then.
Like,
Good
that's
for
so
you.
sick, you know?
Yeah, and we weren't working on it full time. Like when we first got the van, we bought it January of 2019, and we hit the road this past June 2020. So we had the van for like a year and a half, but we were only working on it on like 1 or 2 days a week, just on the weekends, because we were still like, we put the down payment on the van, you know, put our savings on that, and then we were like, okay, well now we actually have to save to put money for the build out, and so we worked with our full-time jobs. You know, while we had the van, and then sold everything we owned, moved in with friends and family. Like we sacrificed a lot. Like it wasn't like easy, you know, and like it's just, but that's kind of like when there's something that you really want, you just do it. You make it work. Like you will, if there's something you really want, I truly believe like you just make it happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true.
And I've said it a lot lately, not even just gearing up. I said it today, gearing up for this episode, but like I've said it a lot lately because we've been living like the weirdest shit for like a year and a half now.
Yeah, we're in the same boat almost.
And like, dude, you were talking about like our setup of like tiptoeing to like get the camera pod in here. Like, I can't say anything. Like, I haven't been in a space this small, but like I have a full recording desk in my bedroom, and it's like to do all the stuff. And I'm not going to go through all of it because those who have been listening to the podcast for a while, I've been peppering my story throughout all this. You know what's up, but. You know, between Meg going down south and like me, once again, I moved in with friends, right? Save money aggressively, like attack it, right? But it kind of sucks when I'm like on my way to 30 and I'm living with a bunch of bros again. You know what I mean? And then like to do all my audio stuff, I've got a whole recording rig. I've got people in my room. I've got like stuff happening. And it's like I am setting up like the lights for the podcast, or I'm setting up like a bass rig, or like you'll see tonight, Ethan, because like Ethan and I are gonna jam after this. But we're gonna be in like the Harry Potter attic straight up. Like we're gonna get, like Meg's gonna shut the door and like tell us we can't come out and be like, you know, like stay in there, you know. But you have to live like no one else, so you can live like no one else, and. That's Dave Ramsey. And he pisses me off so much, so many different times, but there's a lot of, I hate a lot of things he say, and like when I analyze it like numerically, I'm like, I don't think that this is correct, but I love a lot of things that he says. Yeah. And analyzing it, I think it's correct. So like if you haven't heard him yet, Total Money Makeover, you should listen to it. You might get pissed. There's good shit in there though. Listen to it. He has a good plan, but none less to say, like that one quote, I believe more than anything in the world. And going through this, it's the same way where it's like people, and like we were talking about this later, so we might even jam on this, but like people will look at you and they'll be like, why the fuck are you 30 years old? I'm not yet. Why are you 30 years old and are you living in a van? Why are you 30 years old and you're living in a house that you're sharing with like 4 other dudes? Like, why are you doing that? Yeah. And like when you tell your like I know you guys aren't like working in the 9 to 5. Like I'm working, right? When I tell my coworkers, I just don't tell them, dude, because it's like when you tell them, they're like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah. Like, so I live in this house with a bunch of guys that save like a ton of money. I rent a house down in Tennessee that my wife lives in, and then she came back, and then I'm renting that, and now we're all living in there, and then we're gonna buy this other place and do this, and they're like, wait. I get out of work, I buy a pizza, and I go home, and all the things that you're saying, that sounds shitty, and I'm like, for sure, this sucks. All this sucks. But it's like, I get that. And like, I totally get what you guys probably had to do to like get to where you're at. And you're like, this is the thing we want. And then like you were saying, Katelynn, you're like, if you want it that bad, like you'll find a way to get it. You're like, this is the thing that we want. We're going to do this to make that happen. Yes, it sucks. I'm choosing to do this thing And like, I believe it. Dude.
For sure.
I believe that more than anything. And like, that's what I give to people where like, I agree with you, Ethan. Like, people that want to live that fucking live that, dude.
Right.
Like, do not, actually, I tell them, don't mess it up. If you really are meant to do 9-to-5 job, and you do enjoy the job,
then
and you get out, and then you have a family, and you have fun with them, and on the weekends you have fun with the things that you're doing, and like everything's working right for you, do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't mess that up because you think that there's something more, like a grass is greener. I don't get fulfilled by those things.
Right.
I'm not fulfilled by any job that I've ever had, and there's none that I think that I'll have. I just know, actually, I can tell you right now, there's none that I'll ever get that will do that for me.
Yeah.
And then I don't get fulfilled by like buying the jet ski and like riding that. Like, I love it, but like, I'm not going to, I just, none of that is going to do it for me. Like, I need that game to play. I need the other game to play. And I know that. And, I think that that's all part of this is like knowing what it is that you want to have happen. Then if that is what you want to have happen, then you get to decide. Like, we had, Sean Giovanni is actually a producer out of Nashville at the record shop down in Nashville.
Oh, right.
But he was talking about that, where he's like, people have different levels of like, how much do you want it? And it's like, if you want it at like a 7, where like you're going to go pretty far, but then you're like, oh, I have to live in that house. I'm like almost 30. Like, that would be rough. And then you're like, but I'm not going to do it. Then don't do it.
Yeah.
If you have to, it's all self-awareness of like, what do I really want? If I really want to live in the van, and I really want to have that life where like I kind of just choose everything that I do all the time, and that's how I want to be.
Then what do you need to do to make it happen?
And then are you going to be cool when you're in that situation? Like, am I going to keep doing this or not?
Yeah.
6 months, that's not a short. It sounds short when you're 30 or 40 and you're looking back, you're like, 6 months, that was nothing.
Right.
When you're in 6 months, 6 months feels like 10 years, and you're like, this is awful.
Well, even worse,
How am I still doing this?
It was 6 months of collective, like, if you took all the time of work putting into it, but it was a year and a half.
Yeah.
It was spread over a year and a half. So it's like, even still, it was like, it would seem like a long time, and then like I have to, Katelynn is, being like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Just
you
like,
wake up and you're like, this is still happening.
And I'm like,
did you realize that? We're still doing this thing?
She's like, why can't this? And I'm like, why can't this be done already? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, and like exactly with like you guys' the situation for sure too, where it's like, like,
we're closing in on a year and a half, and we're like, whoa, this is still happening?
Yeah. And like,
that was supposed to be not that long.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Dude.
And that's not that amount of time.
We thought the van would take us 3 months.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone else is doing it. Like, no, like we were broke. Like when we first bought the van, like that was it. It was like, no, you got to work to put that money into it. You got to figure out everything, like how to do it, how to do things, like build weird cabinets like that. And like, but no, like seriously, like with you guys too, like I remember like before we left New Hampshire and stuff, and like how you were talking about going to school and everything. And then like, it was, pretty much like, I think it was in the first year that we went to Nashville.
And you guys
you're
came
like,
down to visit
hey,
us.
like we're looking for a place around Knoxville area.
Yeah.
And then
we were looking at schools.
Yeah. When you guys came down,
that's what we were doing.
Us.
Yeah. Nashville was just a side quest for fun.
Yeah. That was so much fun.
That was
so
blast,
great.
Yeah.
But then it was like, you guys were talking and like come to find out that like Dave was going to be up here in New Hampshire and you were going to be down in Tennessee. And like, we're looking at that and we're just like, whoa, that's crazy. Like that's like going against like the status quo too, of just being like, hey, like we're married, but like, we're going to figure out like, we want what we want also as individuals. It's like obviously supporting each other, but like, being like, hey, I want to go and do this. Hey, I want to go and do this. Okay, great. Well, like we will go through that time, like that hell of like being apart from each
flying
other.
In the airport, there's no one flight from New Hampshire. So it's like once a month for like a long weekend at best.
Yeah.
It would be like 5 connecting flights. They wouldn't line up. I would be stuck in an airport in DC and then have to get to work at 6 a.m. the next day. Like just getting shit on by everything in the world.
Right.
And I was like, but this is how we do the things that we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And,
And like having like the courage to do that, in the midst of like everything, everyone's looking at you and thinking like, well, so you're not going to be like together 24/7? you know, and like with us, it's like, so you're not going to buy a house? Like, you're not going to like have kids by 26?
Yeah.
You know, and like being like, no, this
You're not going to work at the Coca-Cola plant for 50 years?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to go work at Ford and then get a discount from Ford?
Yeah.
You're not
for real, you know?
It's 2020. We can do different. That's okay.
Right.
You can do that. Yeah.
You can. But we don't. I don't know, man. It's like I don't have the brain for that. You know, it's like we don't have the brains for that to be like, hey, like we are totally fine with doing the same thing every day, and then going home, watching TV, waking
Having
up the next day,
routine
and then doing it again. You know, it's like I feel like, you know, like. I feel like there's a lot of things like that where like people who are like business owners, like they do have to go through that a lot, you know, and everything like that too. But like there are people who do that where that's like, that's it. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? They're working for whoever, and that's it. And there are a lot of people who are happy with that too. And so it's like
we said earlier, if you're happy with it, then do it, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Then do
it. Just depends on what
are you trying to get?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you trying to get, and how are you going to do it? And dude, I thought about this before the show. And this is like you were saying, like there's like X amount of episodes that all the people are saying the same things, but in 73 episodes, everyone's doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think it's like you have a certain crew of people that are all trying to do a certain thing, and they're just finding different ways to do it. Mm-hmm. And there's different ways in each subgroup, but it's like us two couples, we're trying to do the same thing.
Right.
We're doing it differently. Mm-hmm. And like even like the problems that we're facing is the same. Where like you guys are sick of the overhead, and you're like, I'm sick of paying bills, and to do these things, and it's also because the bills are telling me what to do, and I want to say what I do all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
We are buying more shit, which is scary, and like putting more like debt on, but we're generating income from it. Exactly. So it's like it sucks because like I have that minimalist vibe in me where I'm like, I don't want this shit to like fill up with a bunch of shit. And like do shit with shit, but like I'm trying to. But I know that like for me, like I need a recording space that is like a grandiose space, because like I work best in that process of it with like multiple artists like in that space and like in that ambiance. I knew that like for me, say I was a mastering engineer. Well, they might say differently because I'm not, but. There's plenty of engineers out there that I could live the van life and I could mix on headphones. That's not a problem at all. I just know that I'm best like with that group ensemble, like in that moment. And I was like, okay, to do that, I have to have a space. Yeah. And then if I need a space, I'm sick of like freelancing out of places, and then they shave a margin, or they tell me where I'm marketing, and they tell me what I'm doing for schedule. They tell me all these things. Or I could lease a place, but then I can build all this acoustic shit, and then someone's going to tell me that I'm shut down, or that they're renting to someone else, or my rent's going up, or they're telling my schedule, or they're telling me when I can do drums, and all of a sudden I'm being told what to do there. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I need to build a place. Right. And then I was like, I need to build a place, but I still want to live that way where I don't want my bills to tell me what to do either. So then I was like, I have to find a way to like get income in, or like do. That's why we started doing the property stuff to like get rid of that. But it's like we're all trying to do the same thing, man. We're trying to wake up every day and have a choice of like, what do we do and where do we go? And like that's what everyone wants to do. Like I think in this train is like, how do we make that happen? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You know, it's like, yeah, definitely. It's like we're doing it. It's like my dad said something. He was like, "There's more than one way to skin a cat." You know, it's like it's brutal, but you can go to jail for that now. But no, no, I don't know. But it's but like it's like I'm not cutting that out, dude. Yeah, with the new like animal abuse ban thing, you know. Well, that just happened. You know, you can go to jail now for animal abuse. It's crazy. You've always been able to go to jail for that. Oh, really? No? I thought it was a new thing. I don't know. Whoa. Okay, so actually you're super right. Well, that's actually way sadder, dude. That's way sadder. Oh my god. But anyways, the fact, I don't know. I think that like that's saying it just like, yeah, dude, there's more than one way to do something, you know, and it's like, you know, like with you guys like buying properties and doing all that stuff, like those are big moves. Like that's that's wicked admirable for sure. You know, it's like those are things that like I might be like, shoot, yeah, I'm kind of scared to do that, you know, and that's really big, you know. And then yeah, it's like this is the same thing in a different way, you know. But I look at this as like as a way for me anyway. It's like
it was stepping out of my comfort zone, but also like still being comfortable about it. Like, I don't know how that makes sense, but you know, like that's the way it felt for sure, you know, but to do like what you guys are doing, I'm just like, dude, like, I don't know. I admire you guys so much to be like, hey, like,
I think
we're
it's
gonna
yin and yang, dude.
like,
I think it's legit just like total polar opposite of like doing the same thing. I really do.
Mhm.
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Because like I would be the same way. I would be opposite where like I feel really in control doing this. If I had like I was like straight up every day I wake up and I just go wherever, and then like I would be like, yeah, but I have a process for like how I do the thing in this spot, and like I don't want to not do that. Like I would feel like less control if I did what you guys did. I think. maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. Never done it.
We should switch lives for a week, you know.
Life swap.
See how it goes, you know. I don't know. Maybe we would like it. I don't know.
that'll be episode like 250. It'll be like couple swap.
Yeah. Like
Meg and I out there, and they're like, wait, we have like no one to tell something to do or like feel like we're doing something cool. We're just chilling, and like, but like we're just chilling, like, or like,
right.
And then I'd feel, I'm in a house, get me out of here.
You'd have someone yelling at you, be like, but I'm supposed to be doing, and then like Ethan would be like, but I've been a contractor. You like I've been there, Bob.
Yeah. You know, I think
actually that would work out pretty good.
That'd
actually,
be fun.
It'd be legit.
Dude, seriously, you know, we could do it.
So you guys have been out for 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that you get people that get into the van life and they just figure it out and they're like, wow, that sounds awesome. I totally get it. Are you guys thinking for the future? Like, where does this go? Or are you not? Like, what does this turn into for you guys? What is this for you now?
Yeah, so I guess we're thinking of the future, but also it's hard to say because it's like, now that we're living this, I can't imagine living any other way now. So people ask us like, oh, like, you're traveling for a year or what? And I'm like, I don't know I want to do this until I don't want to anymore.
And maybe I don't.
Right,
don't want to.
Exactly. And maybe I'll never feel that way. Like maybe we do this forever.
Yep.
But we've thought about different ways of doing like the nomadic lifestyle, like boat life someday, or buying property in like Central or South America, something like that. But for right now, it's like van life is just everything, if not more than what we ever pictured it would be. And like, I don't want to live any other way now. It's like, yeah, I don't think we could ever settle down, whatever that means.
Yeah. Of just like not worrying, how, I don't know. It's like, to put in perspective of like this whole COVID stuff going on right now, it's like we've literally such a comforting thing is that like we're off grid. All we need to do is find a way to fill up our water every week. And then we're out. And then we don't have we're out and we're not even worrying about what's going on right now. Cause it's like, we're like, for a lot of the times, we're away from everybody and we're not worrying, we're not even seeing it half the time. You know what I mean?
Like it's kind of ideal for COVID times. More than anything. Cause you're like, we're not near anyone else and I can go wherever I want with everything that I need and just not be there where it's problem.
You don't have to stay in hotels. Worry free. You're like in your home every day. Yeah, it's so cool.
Worry free. For sure, because it's like you can just get away from it all. I mean, like obviously, like you still we still have the, we're still tethered to the whole thing. It's like, well, yeah, we do have a payment on this, and we need to have money to get groceries and do stuff like that. But it's like, I mean, with the whole deal, like while we're while we're working on our things for like online revenue and all that, I mean, like we just worked one seasonal job for 2 weeks and. Like, that's it. Like, we're good for, the next few months.
That output is ridiculous. 2 weeks for 3 months worth of time.
That's it. That's it.
Think about that, yield versus anyone working a normal life. It's, usually, a week equates to, a day worth of pay or something like that. And it's, 2 weeks of work for 3 months of, I decide whatever I want.
Right.
I would take that.
Yep.
I get that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just, that's it, But, I mean, you still, it's like that's it in the short term. Like as long as we like, I mean, once we start to get to the point where we're like, we're actually making money from being like here in the van, you know, it's like, then that's great. But we still have that tether. So that's the only worry that we really do have. Other than that, it's like just very worry free as far as, you know, like we can be like, hey, like, well, what do you want to do today? I don't know. Like, let's just go and have some fun and whatever. Like, that's it. You know, like, oh, we don't want to be around people, or, you know, like there's like riots happening over here, or people are sick over here, or, you know, whatever's happening. It's like, well, you
literally can move your home.
Yeah. Like we're out. Sorry. Yeah. Like, see ya, you know, like, you know, it's like, it's crazy, you know, it's like anything. I mean, not saying that like, maybe we don't want to get away from certain riots, like if the movement's like good, but like just saying like if things are like on fire, you know, it's like, okay, well we can, we're gone.
If you're not in the right situation, you can move your home away
from
other things.
Exactly.
Anywhere. Yeah.
So it's like that's like such a big part of like why, I don't know, just like a big driving factor why we're doing it.
Yeah, in the community too. The van life community is just unlike any other. Like that's kind of what really ignited the fire too, because when we were first talking about van life, you know, we had only watched it on YouTube and read blogs, but seeing it in person, we had gone to a Asheville van life rally, and that was like November or September 2018, I believe.
Wow.
So that was like when it was
progression.
Yeah, it was. We, you know, had this thought in our heads that we wanted to do this, but just seeing it in person, like going to the van life rally, meeting people in the community, just getting involved, it was just like, this is it. Like we knew, and like walking in other people's vans, and everyone was so open and just like doing exactly what we wanted, and, you know, like starting their own businesses, being creative, just like living on the road, being active, living healthy lifestyles. It's just, it fit everything, like checked all the boxes. So it was after that van life rally, we were like, okay, sold everything in Nashville. Sold, like moved out of our house that we were renting, moved in with friends and bought the van. And that was it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. We looked into it at first, and then we go out and we see it in front of our eyes, like kind of like this.
Yeah.
Like getting in and sitting down with people and like hanging out. We're just like, this is it. Like, this is what we want. This is it. And then we're just like, okay, well, what are we going to do to make this happen? I don't know. Let's go home and figure it out. And we're like drawing up plans and, you know, like doing all that. And then finally we're just like, well, we have $2,000 saved. Let's like go freaking buy a van right now, you know, like, but it took us then a month to get the right price and the right everything. And then, you know, then finally we got it, you know, and they're just like, I mean, that's it. It's like, just saying like, I want to do this. Like this, I think this is the theme of this right here. For sure. I want this. I'm going to make it happen.
And we could have, like, I know a lot of people will probably say like, oh, if you didn't, why didn't you just buy like a cheap camper van or an RV or something? But we specifically knew like, we wanted a Sprinter style van and
longevity.
Just thinking about, you know, selling it one day as an investment. And then, it was just this van. We were like really into doing the whole stealth camping. So, which we wouldn't be able to do if we had an RV or camper. So that's one thing too. Like we've never paid for parking ever. And one time
we did once because it was tradition.
There's this campsite in Asheville that we love that we will
it all started.
Yeah. So, but other than that, we stealth park. We, you know, we can pull up in cities or wherever and just shut the lights off and
turn these lights off, put the window coverings on,
and no one knows. It looks like a work
back
van.
On, and no one can see anything.
Yeah, because it just looks like a regular work van.
Blended in, you know.
So everything's a Sprinter now.
Yeah,
exactly. Everything's a Sprinter. So, I think that's why even though I don't live the van life, and who knows, maybe I will, but I don't believe that I will, right? Even though I don't live it, what I relate to so hard and I connect to so hard, and I feel like I could talk to legit anyone in the community of van life and like I could chat with them for hours on it, because I believe it has nothing to do with this at all. It has something to do with like you understand as a person that life is a series of instances and then it's over.
Right.
And like, you're like, what do I want this to be? And when you see a prediction, like you're forecasting out, like, what will that be for me? And you see something that's like just a solid line of like, it's not going to be that. It's like, if you're not if you're not enjoying all these little micro instances along the way, like all the time, then like that's something I've learned as I've gotten older. I don't think I learned that when I was younger and I had that just like straight up angst. I've gotten older and I've understood that when there's been, I was talking to you, Katelynn, like earlier today, like there's no schedule when you're in school. There's a schedule, even if you don't feel like it, because like now you're in summer and like the seasons line up and there is a schedule of exactly what is going to happen, right? When you're in work, there's some of that still, because like in any business I've ever worked in or with, because I've worked with B2B for so long and I see what happens in these people's lives day to day. Cyclically, there's still things that happen with us where we put holidays, where we put time off, where people naturally take time off to like connect with other time off. Like there are cycles no matter what. But the way that we work in that way, it's just like, van life is about, I want to make it so that everything I'm doing is just pieces that I'm stacking up of like instances that I enjoy. And if I don't enjoy it, I'm going to alter it quickly, extremely liquid, and just make it so I'm continuing to enjoy the instances. And I feel like the older that I've gotten, I've really understood that when there isn't a cycle so much like that, where you're waking up every day, not in van life, right? You're waking up every day and you're like, this is the thing that I'm doing today.
Yeah.
But then it's not the thing that you want to do. Whereas like in van life, maybe like you're waking up and you just have so much control that you're like, I'm just choosing where I want to be because I'm happy there.
Right.
I'm choosing what I want to do because I'm happy there. And I'm being with what I want to be because like this is, I don't need more than this to make me happy. I have the things that all function to make me happy and comfortable. And like, that's what I align with, dude, is like, I believe that life should be a series of events that just make you happy the most that you possibly can throughout all of that time. And then like, you're done and then you die. That's literally the fucking life, dude. Like, that's literally it.
Yeah.
Happy and happy and meaningful, you know what I mean? Like that's it. That's what everyone wants, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, to some people, like happy and meaningful might be like, you know, going and doing, you know, 9 to 5 in an office or working, you know, on a construction job or working, you know, on the floor. And like that's
creating series of happiness little things for them where they're like, I love this thing that I'm doing in my job. I'm fulfilled by this. Like this is cool as shit. I'm working on this thing today. That's awesome. I go home, love my fucking family, and like that's the series of events for them. Do it.
Do
awesome.
It. Seriously.
You know?
But then like with this, like with what you want to do, what I want to do, it's like
we're able to pursue our passions.
Yes. Like that's it. And that's the whole thing about
because
like being,
we weren't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like,
that's all.
And that's the thing about being creative.
Changing course.
And like things like that. Like it's like we are happy with like what we create, you know, or how we create things. You know what I mean? It's just like you know, not everyone has that strength. Like we do, you know, and like, and we want to do that. Or like people have it where, you know, maybe it's not so much like with arts and stuff like that. It's like with business, like a ton of the people here on the podcast, you know, it's like everyone does it for like, hey, I'm creating this business and I'm an entrepreneur. It's like, that's a whole different thing about like creating something, you know what I mean? It's just like, this is so sick, you know, it's like, and like you said, just different means of doing it, you know, like whether it's content, whether it's art, whether it's business, whether it's, you know.
It's all creating, man. That's why I kept this really like a vague podcast, because like I know like I'm an audio engineer, I'm a musician, I'm going to talk about that stuff. You guys know that I have a bunch of guests on there that selfishly I'm like, I got to know how this guy did that thing. You know, this gal did this thing, you know. But at the end of the day, I kept it open because I was like, I truly believe that I'll get something from every guest, that everyone's creating some way and they're paving some path to like achieve a thing. And I think that I can reverse engineer anything that people are saying along the way to bring something that's applicable to what I do in audio engineering. Cause I can study a YouTube channel or a book or whatever, and I can always get better at audio engineering. But like, I can't always get better at like business and life without having those included in it. And I think differently about audio engineering when I meet people like you guys or like other people and like talk about it. You know, so.
I know, it's like taking, if you take it all and it's like, oh, well, you know, creating. Like, exactly. Like I can learn so much from you guys to put into this and like,
that's a myth.
You know, no, but that's like, no, I'm getting what you're saying. It's just like, let's, you know, it's so cool. Like what you can look at.
Ethan's like, no, that was like an example, but like you do suck ass.
No,
like, you really suck.
Of course not. Of course not. I mean, like, I think I'm just so stoked that like you created this. I'm in my place of like where I live, and like I'm on your podcast. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
it's
man.
so sick.
Yeah. All right, so we've got people like actually, for those of you that couldn't see on live, if like the angle was wrong, we actually have cars pulling up on us because we're in the van. They're like pulling up on us, like it feels like we're being surrounded by cruisers or something weird's happening. No, that's like people coming in. So like we have to end this episode, but I have 5 questions that I ask at the end of every episode that I got to ask.
Yes.
That's what we got to do to cap it out.
Let's do it.
You ready for it?
Ready.
So I ask them as a pointed way. So don't think too crazy hard about it, but you can feel free to like take a second, like think about it. You don't have to like just answer it. You know, that's cool. I can edit that out.
Okay.
I'm not editing out. But, all right.
Damn it.
So I'm tarnished. I'm foiled. So I always kind of get it from the episode, but I always ask it like this pointed. What made it so that out of anything that you were going to do, why is this the thing that you have to do when you wake up in the morning versus any other thing that you did in your life? Like, why is this the thing that you have to do?
I mean, I guess like it's just what really makes us happy. Not having, at least for me, not having a routine, like a job that I have to go clock in and clock out of every day. Now I'm able to wake up in the morning and just, you know, to make my coffee, take my time, like just work on stuff that truly brings joy and value to my life.
Yeah.
And I'm able to, you know, start my own business now, which I've like had in the back of my head for years. Like I wanted to get to that point, but I never saw it actually possible. So working on that and, you know, just doing stuff that's actually gonna continue to bring me joy in the future, rather than just keep working these jobs just to pay the bills. Just in obviously living against the status quo. I feel like that's the first step to really doing like what you want. Because everyone's gonna doubt you, and when people are doubting you, that's when you know you're doing something right.
Say it all the time when you're scared or people are doubting what you're doing, or they're like, "You're fucking crazy," and I'm like, "Yeah, all right, cool, good."
You're
good,
like, "Great, I'm gonna keep doing it.
I'm gonna do it."
Like, oh, great, that was encouragement. Cool, I'll keep going. All right, great.
Right, yeah.
Yep. Don't take it as a no. Take it how am I gonna do this?
Like, wow, man, that's really weird. I'm like, thank you. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I hear it. I hear you. I hear you.
I don't know. That's that was words out of your mouth. It's like, you know, it's like
I wasn't comfortable with it when you first hit that, when you're at the first barbecue and you say it and you're getting hit by it. I wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But I've been saying that shit that have gotten that reaction long enough now that I'm like, yep. All right, cool. We done here? Like, I'm going to go get another burger. Cool. Yeah.
Right,
You're not comfortable with it? Wonderful. I knew that. You knew that. We both knew we were going to be uncomfortable here. I'm actually comfortable though. So like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and like, you can do whatever you want to do. That's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's like when you said that, like on that podcast, we're just like, no means how am I going to do this? I'm just like, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just spoke to me for sure.
Well, that was recent, man. I put that episode out because like I'm facing that right now because we're landing good right now. Nothing is set, but like we're landing good like in a property. But it was just like with any like with all that shit, it's like it always comes up where it's like, oh, you're done. Like it's a hard stop. You're completely done. You're like, I'm not though. Like you're being a dick. Like you know that I'm not done. I'm gonna go find some other way to do it.
Right.
I'm gonna just not do it with you, or you're not gonna be the one that helps me. But like I'll find some other way.
Yeah.
And you know that. I know that. But like we're gonna just do this right now, and that's fine. But whatever. Like that sucks. But
it's like I don't know. Super inspiring for sure.
All right. So along the way, it can be in van life, it can be in life, it can be in whatever you're doing. What is like, say you could take the lesson that you learned from it and like pop it into someone's head or like feed it to them, like they just instantly get it, but they didn't have to do the thing that you did that was like your biggest mistake. You know what I mean? Like you probably learned something awesome from it, but you're like, if you could just take this lesson, this did actually really suck to have happen or to do. What was your biggest mistake along the way?
Well, for me, I was thinking that just like not worrying about just do it. just do it. You know, I had so many things like doing this whole build that I was so scared of doing, you know, or like with the electrical, I was so afraid of flipping that switch and being like, oh boy, am I going to electrocute myself? You know, I know what I'm doing, but do I really know what I'm doing? You know what I mean? And so just finally being like, you know, no, like I would say, just don't get into your head and don't like, you know, yeah, that's it. Don't get into your own head. Just, you know what you're doing. Just do it. You know what I mean? Just flip that switch and just, you know, you're not going to electrocute yourself because you did it right. So,
sure.
You know what I mean? Just,
unless you're me, and I called Eric when I got electrocuted, and I was like, dude, what did I do wrong? Like, I actually just got like 100% electrocuted. I think I'm supposed to go to the hospital right now. What did I do? And he's like, oh, did you do this and this? I was like, yeah, I did that. And he's like, yeah, that electrocuted you.
Oh, shit.
That was me. I did do that. So don't do what I do, but whatever Ethan says, like, actually do that. Yeah. That's me, man.
Just hope that it's okay. Yeah.
All right,
just
flip side.
Don't let fear overcome you, is what
Unless,
it is.
do you have a no? Do you have like a
I mean,
one that you want to share separate?
I guess just, that's what he said.
Just not the electric part, but
not
like,
the electricity.
don't like,
yeah, I guess, I mean, just to get a start of it, like do something that makes you feel uncomfortable every day. And that's just,
I love that.
I don't know. To me, this is how I've always been. If I'm too comfortable, then I'm like, oh, I need to reevaluate. I need to switch things up, or just because I'm not growing, I'm just staying stagnant. So I just, don't stick in your comfort zone. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be go out, like sell everything you own and buy a van, but just do something that's going to help you grow.
You have to play outside there all the time. Like that's like the actual playing field is like in the non-comfort spot. You have to be playing in there, and if you're not playing in there, you're like, fuck, I'm not like doing good right now.
Yeah.
Because like I'm probably not making any moves right now because I'm just doing the thing.
Yeah.
Where like anyone that's ever had like an amazing idea or like a changing thing of anything, and it's always something outside there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we've been saying it lately. I've been like, Meg, I'm scared right now. Like I'm really scared. And she'll be like, yep, I know, that's good. Yeah, great. And you're like, I know, but it's not comfortable. Like it kind of sucks. And she's like, it's like, yes, I know that you feel that way. It does kind of suck. That's good. Yep, great. Right. It's good though. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll keep doing it. You know. Flip side to it. What optimistically, what is the best thing that you did along the way? You're like, definitely do this. Do it sooner than we even did. Like this was awesome. Great choice.
Yeah, I mean, we always say like, "Oh, we wish we did van life years ago." You know, even
started
though
sooner.
Yeah, just I mean, living in Nashville was the best experience, and we loved it, and we're happy that we did. That was like a part of our life, our journey. But if we just lived in a van sooner, I don't know. I think we would have saved a lot of money, and we'd be ahead than where we're getting. Like I know we're going to get to that point. We're like a goal we have in mind of being, debt free and, just being to that point. But I think if we had started earlier, we would have just gotten a running start on that. Yep. But, it's just, we're still doing it.
Yeah. Just, go for what you want sooner than you think it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I believe that. I've heard that from like so many guests too. It's crazy. Yeah. It's like start sooner. It's like I know.
Yeah.
Just make it work. You'll figure it out.
What is one resource that you'd recommend to the audience? Like, say people want to get into van life. Is there any book, podcast, YouTube channel, video, any type of resource that you really recommend to them that they should check out? Where you're like, this is really a key one. This is a big influence. This is a great one.
Yeah, I would say for us, at least, it was just typing in van life on YouTube. Really, that's kind of the start of it.
And more specifically, like if you want to do van life stuff, like check out like Eamon and Beck on there and like Trent and Allie and stuff. They were like the two biggest ones for us when we first started out anyway.
Sure.
They're very like, and this is, speaking specifically for van life,
And
like
Ethan and Katelynn.
Yes,
You can check out our website too.
We'll plug that too. Hunter's
We will
Van
in a sec. We will.
And so like, yeah, those were like two huge ones for us, for sure on YouTube.
They'll be like, yo,
And
I
then-
was listening to Waking Up From Work podcast like way back in 2020. It was crazy. And like, I heard Ethan and Katelynn and I was like, fuck yeah, started my van life, right?
Hey,
man.
that'd be a great, we'd love that.
It will happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Inspire others. That's the whole part of it. Like, we want to inspire others to live an alternative lifestyle, whether it be van life or boat life or converting a school bus, whatever it is, tiny house. I mean, just thinking outside the box that like you don't have to do the 9 to 5. You don't have to buy the house with the picket fence and, fill it all up with things. Like, it's just, there's other ways to live. And I think that's just what people think, that this is what the status quo is. This is what we're trained in the rat race. This is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But if you're not feeling like that's meant for you or that's bringing you true joy, then you think there's other ways.
This might be me because I'm like so visual. I like picture things, right? And like, I'm sorry if this is super trippy because like I don't even smoke a lot of weed, really. So it's like literally this is just a problem with me. So sorry. But like I think about it as like if you just wake up and like just exist, right? I feel like what I picture is like you have to be like a ghost of yourself and like push yourself out and be like an outside view and like watch yourself do the day to day and like get outside it and watch what's happening and then decide like what should or should not be happening. And that's the like way that I look at it, is like looking from an outside view. It's like when you're just living life, like things have been done a certain way forever and they just can cyclically happen. And then like there are people that don't do it in all times, right? There are like the Thomas Edisons and like the JP Moore. There's like people that have been doing this shit outside that place in the non-comfort zone. There's been people not conforming and doing that for all of time.
Exactly.
But if you just live life, every system, every cycle, every education, every business, everything that we do for everything is systemized to make you do a certain thing. And you have to like do that thing where you push outside and you like watch yourself from the outside and you have a choice of like, am I going to do this? Or like, are there other things that are out here? And you're like looking bird's eye view of like almost like a drone shot of yourself of like, I know it's super spacey, but like that's kind of how I think of it, is like now like, okay,
You
push
have
away.
to do that.
What's going on here? Like, why is this the system?
Yeah.
Why is this the way that we do it?
Right.
Why? It's
Question
always
everything.
the why. It's always the why of everything. And like, that's why I do so bad at working at jobs when I'm doing a day job, because like, I'm like, wait, why do we pass in that thing that way? And they're like, well, because like Joe likes it this way and like, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but doesn't that seem like it adds like 50 steps and then like we waste time and then like so-and-so's pissed off and like we do this, like, couldn't we do this thing? And like, they fucking hate that. They hate when you do that and you're like, but why though? I need to know why. And like, when you know why, like that's like when it gets like really hard to not know why. And but all right. So non-spacey ender here, but where do people keep up with you guys? People want to watch what you guys are doing with your van life. Where do people go and check out the Hunter Van Life? Where do they go?
Yeah, so our biggest social media platform is Instagram. So it's just the Hunter's Van Life. And then from there, you can like check out our website if you like. At the Hunter's
Van Life?
Yep, at the Hunter's Van Life. And our website is thehuntersvanlife.com.
Yes.
Cool.
And we're on Facebook as well. But Instagram is like our biggest platform that we use.
Get those dinosaurs out of here. Like they don't want to do van life.
Right.
That's me, man. I'm still chilling on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook too, dude. I'm scrolling. Dude, straight up every day.
No, I'm scrolling.
I'm keeping up
they
with
call them
everybody.
Scrollix.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. I won't cut that out because like I need you to accept that that's me, but I'm sorry. But
No, I love it.
all right.
I love it.
So for those of you out there that want to check out what they're doing, that will be in the show notes. Go to wakingupfromwork.com/show notes, episode 73. You can click on those links if you're driving or walking a dog and you don't want to write shit down. Those links will be there and you can keep up with these guys, and I'm sure that you will see them because they're good friends of mine. So we will inevitably intersect over and over and over again until we all go away. So thank you guys for listening to the Waking Up From Work podcast. Thank you guys for being on the podcast,
dude,
and let us be inside your home and be
great.
inside here and chill, dude.
Dude, it's an honor. Thank you so much.
We're so stoked.
This is awesome.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, people, that's going to be it for episode 73 of the Waking Up From Work podcast. Really hope you enjoyed my first episode interviewing people in a van life, because I'll probably do more alternative ways of life in the future because it really links up with this show. And I think that it makes you kind of think about things a lot, right? And I think that that's good for every creative. So thank you again, Ethan and Katelynn, for being on there. If you guys want to keep up with them, I've got all their stuff linked up, wakingupfromwork.com/show notes. This week, if you're listening to this on the Tuesday at 6, I know people kind of disperse it throughout the week. This week, I won't be going live on Thursday night because I actually have my soon-to-be brother-in-law's bachelor party that I've got to go out and act like a goon on and get a little rowdy. So I'm going to be up in Burlington, Vermont. If anyone's hanging around there, I'm probably the person yelling somewhere out there. But I'm not going live on Thursday. I'm probably going live on Wednesday night. And then a lot of this video we shot live inside the van. I think it'd be fun to have up so you could just kind of see us chatting in there. I will have up on YouTube. It's just going to take me a couple weeks to process. So keep an eye out there on the Instagram at Dave Wake Up or on our Facebook page, Waking Up From Work podcast. And I will throw up that YouTube content when it's up so you can see inside their van a little bit more while we're chatting. But thank you guys, like always, for hanging out. Really appreciate you. Go be creative. Go do what you want to do and live how you want to live. And don't worry about what other people are doing. It's just you. Do you. All right. Have an awesome week, guys. Thanks. Peace.